Welcome to the second ever episode of Honest Archives. My name is Leggy. As always, I'm joined by Wally. How are you, mate?
Very well, mate. We've got football royalty in here today.
We do. We actually do, and we should just get straight to him. This gentleman played for 3 clubs. In fact, the Jumpers, if you're watching this on YouTube, right in front of us, we've got the Swans, the Hawks, and the Pies in order as well. Played over 200 games and plenty more accolades. We've got Tom Mitchell on. How are you, mate?
Mate, so much detail in that, even in order. Swans, Hawks, Pies. You guys are just going above and beyond for me here.
Well, we're actually...
So much detail.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we, if you are watching on YouTube, you probably won't pick this up listening to it, but we've only got one lens in here at the moment. Just a bit of a miscommunication. It's all totally fine, but we didn't get the second shot that we normally get, so we're all kind of crowded in together. Wally and I are sharing a mic. It feels like a campfire, but it's
good.
It's nice, and in fact, Wally wanted to get this close.
Yeah. This is what we eat.
As a Hawks fan, Wally was keen to. But Titch, are you familiar with Honest Archives? Do you have any idea why you're here?
I don't. I was told to be here at 2. You need to be here at 2. Don't be late. I don't know a lot about the pod. I know I'm episode 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's been 1. I haven't watched it.
Yep.
I might have seen a clip or 2, but I'll be honest, I don't know why I'm here.
Okay, well, let's do a bit of a question and answer then with you to start. So, played over 200 games, as we mentioned, 3 clubs.
Yep.
You won a premiership. You won a Brownlow. You won an MVP, All-Australian. There's probably a few others, but do you reckon it's one of those that you're here for? And if so, which one?
Well, maybe. Like, I have been on the retirement tour, I guess, of doing different media and pods, so... Potentially, is it about one of them,
mate? It's not.
It's not.
It's
This is the biggest thing. We think this is This is top shelf. This is the best thing you've done.
Do you? Look, I won't even. The year 2014. I'll take you back to the year 2014. You played in the NEAFL and you collected 64 disposals and kicked 4 goals. Here's the write-up and the score from Scotty Gullen about it. I just wanted to present you with this, mate. This is the greatest accolade.
This is probably the best award I've ever received.
Yeah.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
This will be.
Well done,
I might take down the premiership jersey at home and put this up. I reckon.
Yeah.
This is what a trip down memory lane.
So 12 years ago, pretty much in a couple of weeks, it'll be the 12-year anniversary of this.
We should throw a party for it.
Yeah, we should 100% throw a party for it. But I wanted to take you back down memory lane because that was only your second or third year. You were 20 years old. You were trying to make it. Can you remember? Can you just remember much about that time and playing at the Swans at such a young age and in the NEAFL?
Yeah, I remember. So my situation getting drafted was different. So I knew I was going to the Swans when I was 16.
Yep.
Father son. So the Giants and Swans. It was the year the Giants were coming in. So if I nominated for the draft, they said they were going to take me, the first pick or whatever. And then the Swans said, if you nominate father son, we're going to take you. So I signed the contract when I was 16.
Wow.
Which is very unique. It just doesn't happen.
Yep.
And early memories are the team won the flag in 2012. I was pretty much injured that whole year. Played a few games in the Resies.
I didn't realise you were on the list. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, okay. I was there. I was there when they won. I remember being on the ground and thinking, shit, I would love to be here and win one day. The confetti's flying. You're not really a part of it. 13, made my debut. Finished the year pretty strongly. 14, started in the team, went out of the team where this happened, and then got back in, and then this would be one you could look into. I think I had 29 and 13 tackles and got dropped.
Can confirm.
In 2014, yeah. That one's clearly doesn't still eat away at me. So
well, we are going to get into that because I've got some stuff here around what round you playing in the team round 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then how long it took you to get back. But before we do that, one thing Wally and I always have to chat about is Wally. Do you know when this happened? Where you were?
So we often speak about this. So we've got to get the exact date.
It was May 19.
May 19. 2014.
It was a Sunday, I believe.
You know
it? It might have been. Was it?
I reckon,
you know where you
could have
were.
been.
I reckon okay, this is really niche. I have this weird memory of stuff. I think it's called football autism, but I reckon I was in the car and I heard on the radio that it had just come through that you'd done what you'd done because it was actually. And we can talk about the media and the attention and all that in a later segment, but it was actually quite a big talking point, especially Victoria, because we obviously love footy.
Yeah.
And it was like, this bloke's just run around and had over 60 touches. Like, need to get it, because there was a bit of a chorus around you playing really well in the reserves and just not getting in the team.
Yeah.
And I think there was a bit of trade chatter as well about you.
Yeah.
So when it happened, I remember something. Could have been the day that it happened, could have been the next day, but I distinctly remember a news report in the radio saying, it had 64 and 4, and I was thinking, well, how the fuck is the NEAFL on the radio here? So that's all I remember. Can you remember anything more?
What I'm trying to do here, Leggy,
it's a long camera roll flick if you're going back in.
Yeah, I'm trying to go, because what I usually do, I link everything.
I thought you were on Timu then, was that?
No, it's an ad on Final Siren. Okay. So what I usually do is I link everything happens in my life to the Hawthorn Football Club. So if I go back and I see who the Hawks were playing that weekend,
It'll help.
even though it's a dozen years ago, I reckon I would be able to tell you with pretty good accuracy where I was.
Yeah, okay.
And that's my point.
Gotcha.
So that's what I was trying to do, but I got smashed by Temu ads.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's all good. Well,
Anyone need a strainer for dogs?
Let me set the scene. So it's, as I said, it's May 2014. Tom had been on Sydney's list for a couple of years. You were in the senior team, rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4, then got dropped after having, 29 and 13 tackles?
No, that was later in the year. I did get dropped early in the year as well.
You played Eastlake. You won by 131 points at Star Track Oval. Is that Monica now?
That's Monica, yeah.
It is Monica now. That's what it
Did we win by 130? So I don't remember that.
131 points. You had 64. No, let me run through this. So 23 contested, 41 uncontested. It was the highest at the time, highest ever recorded by Champion Data in a state league or under 18 competition since they began recording the stats in 2006. Stat sheet consisted of 28 kicks, 36 handballs, 4 goals, 5 tackles, 14 marks, 12 clearances, 27 handball receives, 16 hardball gets. It equated to 243 fantasy points and 269 Supercoach. One thing that I found out, though, you didn't receive one single free kick from the umpires.
Did I not? And the funniest part about all this, I wasn't named best on. I wasn't named best on.
By who? The league or by...
Well, the coaches put in the best players.
Okay.
And so Jared Crouch was the coach at the time. And he was a role player. When he played, he was a tagger. And he was massive just on just doing your role. Like, don't be a star, do your role. And Xavier Richards, my housemate and great mate at the time, he played full back. And I think he just kept his man goalless and had like under 10 touches. And he got named best.
Oh,
how funny is that?
Well, I do have the quote. I do have the quote though from Jared Crouch on the Sydney website.
Won by 24 goals.
I know.
Keeping him goalless.
Yeah, it's funny. We do laugh about it.
I've got the quote from Jared. It's not too bad.
Not too bad.
It was a dominant performance from Tommy on the weekend, collecting a record amount of disposals. Tom was in everything. His working close was very good and proved to be a danger when he travelled up forward, with Tommy having 5 shots on goal and slotting 4 of them. That's it. That's all. I mean, it's not bad. And he referred to you as Tommy as well, which seems,
kind of matey.
Mates,
yeah.
But it wasn't too bad. But I would have probably said, that's the most ridiculous game I've ever seen. He's had a record number of disposals, and he's certainly pushing for selection. That's what I would have probably said. But can you just talk us through your mentality at the time? Because this is a few weeks after you were dropped. So I think if you were dropped in round 4 of that year, this is kind of like around round 10, round 11. So we're saying about 6 or 7 weeks after you got dropped. Were you just in FU mode?
Yeah, I think to be honest, majority of the time at the Swans I was in FU mode because I played it. You'd have it there, but I played a shitload of NEAFL games.
Yep.
And probably more. So not probably. I played way more than I should have. I'm not sugarcoating anymore. I don't need to sugarcoat. It was I should have been playing a lot more AFL footy than I was at the time. I eventually cracked it in 2015, and then I was in. But those early years were tough because I felt helpless because it was literally felt like there was nothing I could do really.
Do you remember, and I remember this, we're talking about where were you in that. Do you remember the media in Victoria was actually talking about consistently, why the fuck is Tom Mitchell not playing for the Swans?
Distinctly.
It was genuine.
This story
chat.
as well, I don't know who it was, but someone went in the next week and I didn't go in. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, okay. Well, I have to...
That's madness. Unless it was a key.
They did make it tough.
Can you? We may as well ask the question now. What was the feedback? And I know it's a long time ago, but what at the time did you think was the reason why you weren't getting in?
Team balance was the words.
Who were the mids?
The mids was great midfield. Don't get me wrong. Kennedy, Hanbury, Jack, Parker, Bird.
You're better than Craig Bird, though.
Wow.
No offense.
Who else?
Was it that he was playing a tagging role? Is that why?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But it was just team balance. So effectively, there was like you're doing everything, but there was just no spot, basically. So I just had to wait, really, for 3 years, a lot, in the twos.
Did you ever, like Wally just mentioned then, like quite rightly, the media coverage, did you consider a trade? Because you would have had clubs talking to you, I assume.
Yeah, I after the 2014 season, I think I wanted to leave for sure, but I had 2 years left on my contract, so... it's always hard when you're contracted.
It means nothing now.
Yeah, I know now it means nothing. At the time though, I can't remember why, but I remember going into Horse's office after they just lost the grand final in 2014 and just a bit like, where am I at? Obviously got dropped for the finals after a career best game to date as well. So a lot of it wasn't making sense to me. And I remember I went into the coaches meeting when you do your yearly player review, and I went in there and they sort of pumped me up a bit. And they said, just know from round 1 next year, you're in our best team. Just get that in your head. I think they were just trying to keep me happy. And then the first 5 games, I was playing twos again the next year. So I'm like, I'm just going to be playing twos my whole life. And then I think I got in at round 5 or 6, and then I was in for good. Yeah. But, mate, it was just, made it hard. It was just team balance. Couldn't get in.
Did you want Hawthorn, or did Hawthorn approach you and you just wanted to, you were happy to go? And were you happy to go anywhere, or you wanted to go to Melbourne?
I was happy to go anywhere.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah. I felt like I couldn't get my career started if I stayed there. If I stayed there and signed another year contract with the Swans, so they offered me another 5-year deal after the 5 years I finished. I just felt like I was just so restricted. And then an opportunity to go to Hawthorn, they poached me. I spoke to the Gold Coast quite heavily because there was also a role there where would have been probably one of the main midfielders in that team. And Hawthorn, I remember at the time they were targeting a couple of midfielders. I remember because Sam Mitchell and Jordan Lewis left, and so they were looking for, I think, Brad Crouch, Jago O'Meara, myself, and one other young sort of midfielder. They were trying to nail 2. Yep. And in the end, it was Jago and I that got traded. And I don't know. I felt like when I got to Hawthorn, I was like, okay, I can literally go play now. There's nothing holding me back.
How is the difference of playing SCG versus coming out like you're playing start of the season against Collingwood, MCG? Just 60, 70,000 people racking up touches for fun. It must have been amazing.
Yeah, well, both stadiums were awesome. Like when we played in some pretty good Sydney teams at the SCG. Like when Bud got up there, so the SCG used to rock. It was good, especially key games Thursday, Friday night. But like you said, again, I went to another big club, your mob, the Hawks, which was awesome. But you just can't replicate playing for Collingwood. The experience you get on field playing for a big club, it's like. It's a euphoric experience every single Saturday that you can't replicate. I don't think at any other team. Maybe Richmond when they were up and going.
Yeah, Richmond's the one I see. So Richmond, the 2 loudest I've heard the G are Richmond in the 17 finals and Collingwood, Carlton when you guys knocked them out of the finals about 3 years ago in the last round. Yeah. They're the 2. They're the loudest I've heard.
I reckon 2023 prelim was the loudest I ever heard.
Yeah, I was there that night. The GWS
because it was Collingwood Giants. There's probably 10 Giants fans in the whole stadium. 1 point. Yeah. So let's just say there's 100,000. It wouldn't have been exactly that, but that means there's 99,000 plus just Collingwood. Yeah. Because Giants don't have a huge following. They couldn't probably get tickets. So
there's a few corporate pigs like me there that would.
Yeah.
But
but prelims there's less corporate than grand final, so it was loud. That siren was like. Stadium shaking. I was like, far out.
Can I just go back? This might take a little bit of time, but I'll just go through just to get back to the NEAFL stuff very quickly. I just want to go through.
I love that we're here for the NEAFL. How good.
Yeah. Sorry, you did play quite a lot of games, but NEAFL also played quite a lot of games. I've got I've got your stats from 2012 to 2015. I don't actually know how many games in NEAFL this is, but it's around about sort of 20, 25, maybe 30, something like that. Yeah. These are the numbers you got. Going in order of chronological order. So 42, 26, 22, 25, 29. This is all in your first year. 35. Then moving into your second year, 13. Don't know what happened that day. You must have
been crook.
Injury
management.
22, 24, 33, 25, 52, 56, 32, 24, 64, 31, 24, 20, 45, 15, 26, 28, 32, 33, 31, 32, 40. That's basically your NEAFL kind of run.
Well,
so very few games under 20 and a heap in the 30s, and then obviously a couple of 50s.
It's true what they say. You got to earn your games when you hear that, isn't it?
And let me just run through as well. So these are the stats of some of the players that played in the game. So Tim Membry of St Kilda and Collingwood fame,
good mate of mine, Skunker.
23 disposals, 16 kicks, 9 marks, 4 goals. So a decent game when they did win by 100. Dean Towers, for those, 16 disposals, 7 tackles, but 3 goals, so not too bad. He was sort of like a bit of a medium hybrid rangy
forward,
type player.
Wing.
Dan Robinson, who I would not pick in a fucking lineup. Who's Dan Robinson?
He went to Xavier College, played 20 odd games.
No offense to Dan, I just can't remember him. But 16 kicks, 19 handballs, 11 marks, 1 goal. So that's a good performance.
Today.
Your man, Xavier Richards, this is what Jared Crouch said about him as well. Xavier defended well on Saturday. He had a slow start to the game where he was beaten in a couple of one-on-one contests, but fought back well to nullify his opponent, ensuring he had no further impact on the game. He had 17 disposals.
17, so it wasn't 7.
Hang on a second.
But he got best on.
And he started with the negative. He had a shit start, but he actually ended up playing a decent game. We'll put him. But Tommy had 64, but don't worry about it.
And 4. Tell us about the 4 goals.
That's incredible.
Well, so let me just have a look.
Just looking over your framed photo here, just for those that are listening.
4 goal assist. I didn't know that as well. So I played midfield the first 3 quarters. I remember this. So a few stories if you want to talk about this day. I played midfield the first 3 quarters, and I played full forward the last
So
quarter.
can I just say, if we want to talk about this day, this is the day we want to talk about.
You want to talk about this day, yeah. So I played mid. So because the statisticians and the analysts, is that how you say it? Analysts, they always coded the games and did all that at the club. And I remember Jared McVeigh come up to me. He's like, mate, they're coding the game. He came up to me at training on like a Monday or Tuesday. He's like, mate, they're coding the game. He said, you've had 56 at 3/4 time. And because I played full forward in the last. So I think that's when I kicked the goal. I kicked 3 in the last.
Yeah. So you could have had 75.
I don't know. But I remember walking off the field, and I think I was talking to Shane Biggs. He's like, oh, you found a bit of it today? He's like, what do you reckon you had 40 odd? I was like, mate, I reckon I'm just telling you this. I reckon I've had 60. He's like, mate, shut up. He's like, shut up, mate. You haven't had 60. I'm like, mate, I'm telling you, I reckon I've had 60. Like, I'm just telling you. He's like, mate, shut the fuck up.
That's great.
Can I swear?
Yeah, of course
he
you
said,
can.
shut
Please.
the fuck up.
Yeah.
There's no way you've had that. I was like, okay, I just have a feeling like I just felt like I had it a lot.
And that's because you'd already had the Jared McVeigh come up to you.
No, that was after the game on like the Tuesday when they were coding the game, the analysts, because they do the stats later on.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
DT.
I was going to say, Shane Biggs had 42 disposals himself.
That's why we were chatting about it, because I said to him as well, you had a ton of it. So he had 40 that day.
Shane Biggs, never forget.
Yeah.
What was Shane Biggs like?
He loved a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of those Dogs boys did.
He loved a good time. Yeah. Like, I won't throw him under the bus, but we'd go for a steak night on a Wednesday before Saturday game, and we'd just have our steak. He might have a beer or two.
That's good.
Which that was his vibe. That was how he relaxed.
Yeah, I think.
No, never took it out of control. He just enjoyed being around the boys, having a good time. He was good value.
I think if you're having 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter, right? It's more if you're having 10 on a Wednesday, or if you're having a couple the night before.
Well, what's worse, having probably 1 or 2 then, or having 20 on a Saturday like most of us did.
Yeah.
Which that was what we used to do after when we were young, especially. We'd go out every weekend after a game.
It's the Buff Lehman rule. Remember, he'd go, I'll have a dozen pots and a pack of darts each night of the test. You can pick me or not, sort of things. Is
that his mantra?
Well, that was the urban legend, and there had to be a level of truth. And we all know he loved a jar. And mate, think about the entire Australia cricket team in the 80s. The only difference between them and now is time and what's more acceptable. Nothing wrong with having a few jars on a steak night midweek. I reckon it's a great shout.
Yeah.
And what was, just back to Shane Biggs, what was his kind of issue? Because he didn't play much senior footy at the Swans. When he went to the Dogs, you almost forgot that he was from the Swans.
He got the ultimate redemption story playing against the team that traded him to beat him in a grand final. So credit to him. That's as much revenge you can pay back, I think.
You had a good 2016 grand final, didn't you?
Well, yeah, but we're not here to talk about that, mate.
No,
but
you
about
did.
NEAFL. Yeah, no, they had a good day.
Because I reckon I backed you for a few things on the day, and you did quite well. I might have even backed you for the medal at one point. You and Josh Kennedy had an unbelievable.
I reckon you and Josh Kennedy were actually the 2 best players on the ground, but I think it's probably 3 goals. You know when you get to a level and you go, oh, now the margin's over that 3 or 4 goals. We can't give it to somebody that wasn't in the winning team.
Correct. Yeah.
I reckon.
I thought Joey Kennedy. Yeah, he had 30 and 3. He was probably the best player on the ground. But like you said, the winning team normally.
Yeah.
They normally reward that.
Yeah. So you've had 26 and 2, which is still a fucking phenomenal grand final. Because you weren't a big goal kicker either.
No, I wasn't. I kicked one, probably the biggest kick I've ever done. I kicked one from 50 plus that day, which I don't know how, but did somehow.
Yeah, well, you kicked
extra adrenaline.
Yeah, you kicked 15 goals that year, and 2 of them came to the grand final. So that's obviously pretty big. Talk us through your life in Sydney in terms of like living setups. You said you live with Zav Richards.
Yeah, I met Harry Cunningham, who he's a stat on Harry. Harry, if you're watching, most games ever no Brownlow votes. I think he's 220 games. But he's a do your role. He's made a career out of being a great teammate and things.
Do you reckon, and you know him, so do you reckon you get to a point where it's a bit of fun? You go, Brownlow votes don't define anyone. Defenders, obviously, what they say, midfielders get Brownlows, forwards get paid, and defenders win BNFs or whatever it is. Defenders, obviously, they're not going to worry whether they get 1 or 3 or 5 Brownlow votes. Do you reckon it's at a point now where he probably doesn't want to vote because he doesn't want to ruin?
Yes.
It'd be a fun run where you go, I want to play 300 games of footy and not get one.
Yeah.
I reckon you wouldn't want one. You'd be flat.
Yeah.
He probably should have got one in there at some point. I'm sure he's had
good
games
player.
in there where he's kicked 4. I reckon like that normally gets you a vote. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
You sort of mentioned before the team balance side of things kind of kept you out of the team, but were there any like sort of did you rub anyone up the wrong way or any like coaches players you didn't get on with?
Nah, I had great relationships with everyone there. I felt Horse was pretty tough on me. I don't know what that was. That's just what it felt.
Did you feel like with any other boys?
A couple of others. He was pretty hard on Dean Towers as well, Kurt Tippett. There's a few. So I don't know. I don't think it was personal. I don't know. But I feel like when you read those numbers out, like I probably feel like I've probably had to earn my games more than anyone probably ever has, really. That's what it felt like. It just felt like I was just stuck, not getting anywhere.
Like when you say tough, was like Rocket Will Minson tough, or like was it that level? Because I reckon that's the.
That was tough. Yeah.
That's the
genuine abuse almost. Like,
yeah.
Like,
don't know. I
'cause
can't
Horse
remember.
can give
It was
a
a while
break,
ago now.
Horse can give us.
They were big on the leading teams stuff. They
oh.
were massive on that, which I don't know. I don't.
Take us into that. I'm
The
fascinated.
start stop keep.
So the only thing I'd say is because like leading teams is like a gag within my like whenever someone
so
says like you
yeah.
were shit on the weekend, you got blind and you woke up terribly. Go mate, we have leading teams chat about this like 360 feedback. Like that's the gag.
It
so I'd love
has
to know
it
what
has
it's actually
pivoted
like.
from something that was used as quite a professional feedback tool to like even within footy culture, all the boys have a laugh about it. Like when you think about it, putting one player out the front of 45 players, 10 coaches, staff, it just doesn't feel right, does it?
No.
When you've got that, I just feel like that's a bit aggressive.
And so that's what it was like, was it?
It was.
And they had to take feedback from others. Is that?
Yeah, so there'd be normally like a player. I remember distinctly there was one with Sam Reid. He had a few of them. He was at the front, and there's normally like 3 groups, and now our group said this, and then you go to the next group, and you've literally just got barrels just at him. It was pretty ruthless, some of those ones, but that's just how the culture was there.
So it wasn't every player. It was just when the team
it wasn't every player.
felt like the. So who would go? This player's an issue. We need to tell them. Who would be?
I don't know how they decided it, but I reckon in a year they might do 5 players.
Oh, I thought it was all players. So I'm like, that's when you go, it's a bit fair then. So
No,
everyone has to go
definitely
through
wasn't
this.
all players.
Oh, wow.
No, it was probably 5. It was probably like the
pretty
guys
fucked, actually.
kind of on the fringe.
Yeah,
It was typically those sort of guys.
Shouldn't it be? You think it should be like if you have a leader who almost cops it, then it sort of makes it more acceptable for everyone else. But
I think so. I think their
consistently-
argument would be, everyone gets feedback in meetings naturally anyway. But in terms of the peer assessment, one out the front, I reckon there'd be maybe 5 a year.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And so I heard you speak in a pod recently. I don't think it was your own. Might have been another one where you were saying you felt like a bit of a failure for not getting to 300 based on how long your career was.
Yeah.
And like, there's probably a key reason why you didn't get there because you played so many fucking games in the NEAFL. Though,
Yeah.
right? Like and then obviously you will get some injuries as well along the way because you didn't really miss much from the time you went to the Hawks outside of injury to Collingwood.
I missed 1 year when I broke my leg. I missed every game. I missed probably the last year or 2 at Collingwood just through my foot injury, which was probably off the back of the leg, to be honest. But yeah, a lot of them would have been lost in those first 3 years probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does sort of, I don't know if eat away at me is the right word, but it's something I think about. I'm like, I feel like I left probably 50 plus on the table through not being picked when I felt I should have, or injury or whatever else.
Did you ever have we spoke about Josh Kennedy earlier. So Josh Kennedy, Hawks, father, son, grandfather, son, the godfather of the Hawthorn Football Club. So it's tough to go in with that name. And then it didn't work out, went to Sydney, had a career. Like, you've gone to Sydney, it's not working out. You've gone to Hawthorn and Collingwood, had a career. Brownlow there, flag there, Lee Matthews medal. Did you ever talk to him about it throughout that process?
Talk to who?
Josh Kennedy. About the father-son weighing on you and
not the
switching
father-son, but I spoke to him at the end of 2016. We got a coffee together because he'd made such a successful move, and we were similar players. And I said, "What do you think I should do?" And he said, "Oh, you know the answer to that, or only you'll make the right call. You weigh it up." But I took away from it. It didn't guide me either way. He sort of talked about his experience, but I walked away from that thinking, "Oh, I have to go."
You guys play juniors together?
No, he's a lot older than me.
The same club though, right?
Ashburton Junior Footy Club.
Ashburton,
Yeah,
that's where my son plays.
Oh, really?
So
Good club. Burwood Reserve.
He is not
Toby
going on the
Green
same
from there.
path. Yeah.
Jack Viney. We had a good team.
Very, incredible players. Like the photos up there are nuts.
Yeah,
Did you play actually? Right?
I did. Yeah.
Did you play Ashy?
I was.
Is your photo up there?
Nah, it's not there.
What a club.
But, yeah, a bit like Josh Kennedy, Nick Smith as well.
Yep.
That was like that 06.
Luke Ball.
Luke Ball.
Luke and Matthew.
Yeah. Pretty. When you think about it, because it's not. There's so much footy clubs around that area. Like it's more. Like Ashburn's a big area, and that area is big. But like, there's so many footy clubs you could go to. Like there's Q Comets that are a big one as well.
Glen Iris is big. Camberwell Sharks.
Yeah, but I'm more in terms of like creating players. It's just random how so many.
Yeah, I know. No, that's a good point. Saturated area.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got a little one as well.
Yes, I do.
We joked before off air, getting through the ground balls already.
Yeah, he's
6 weeks?
tram tracks and juggling.
Yeah,
he's 2 months. Yeah, he's already advanced.
Yeah, nice. And we were actually, I should say this, we were going to record this on, so this is I normally say this off the top, this is the sort of the Wednesday leading into the Hawks, funnily enough, the Hawks Pies game, 2 clubs you did great things at. We were going to do this on the Thursday, but we couldn't because you're actually being honoured on the field.
Yeah, kindly enough, Collingwood suggested it. They are very good, I think, at honouring past players. I remember when I was there as a player for 3 years, they would always bring past players in and just connect people back with the club. Did it better than any club I've seen, and they've offered me and the family to come along to the game. My 2 most recent clubs, take my son out on the field and have a look around. So it'll be a cool experience, be cool photos to look back on one day.
Right.
Back to the NEAFL.
Here we go. That's what we're here for. This will be going on the wall.
Yeah, it has to. Do you remember like the media coverage at the time? Like, because there were articles written like. Again, I'm going on about this a little bit, but like NEAFL doesn't get any coverage. But if you Google this, you will find like 3 or 4 articles written about this, and then this one here in the Score, which is newspaper only. But do you like remember some of the chatter? Like, was it almost like a joke in the club that like you got 64 and? Yeah,
I do remember the chatter. It was. I don't know if I probably felt it more because it was about me, but it was definitely being spoken about a lot. I remember every press conference at training and after games, Hawks would get asked about me.
Yeah.
The boys would be like, take the piss out of me, and be like, mate, you're going to get 80 or you're probably not going to get picked. Like shit like that. They started calling me Nintendo because I got 64.
Oh, that's good.
So Nintendo stuck with it. But
very good.
Yeah. Wait, what was the question again? Sorry.
Oh, it's just more. Did you notice the?
Yeah, I did. I did hear it, and that's probably where the trade potential rumors started. I think there was rumor around Carlton. And me going,
had a connection. Me
going to Carlton, and there might have been a brief conversation there, but it didn't eventuate. But yeah, I definitely heard the chatter.
It's funny, isn't it? Because we spoke about this, and there would be no other NEAFL story ever that's made headlines in Melbourne media. There just wouldn't be.
Yeah.
There's not. You don't even see like
the games at amateur, or not say amateur, the games at like below AFL level that I think about are yours and Steelside Bottoms TSE Cup where he had 10 and 40 or whatever it was. They're the 2 that I reckon.
I remember watching
that's
that.
Iconic.
Yeah.
And what pick did he go?
He went 10, I think.
10. Yeah. It was mad.
I wonder how much that got him up the leaderboard.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's still a steal, right? Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
The thing is, so he had 30, he kicked 10, but then he had like a dozen inside 50s as well. Like he just did everything. It would have
been part of every
and
goal.
took a dozen marks.
And I wonder what margin that game was.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
But he's still remembered for that. Like that gets mentioned in a Collingwood meeting and then Steel kicking 10 in TSE Cup.
Absolutely.
So,
can you said something to me, and you said it to me on the phone when we spoke about this episode about a Bucks gift or something. Can you explain this story?
Yeah, I'll explain it to you. So, I got tagged this day, and
so you got tagged the day you had 64.
Yeah, had a bloke running with me, and I've forgotten his name, but his
mates
mates got in touch with me before his Bucks party because I think this was the last game he played, or so they say. But there was probably mayo on that, but I had to put a video together for his Bucks party and saying something along the lines of, "Hey mate, Titch here. Just wanted to apologise for ruining your footy career. Hope you have a great Bucks. Sorry about that day. Didn't mean to go that hard." Or something along the lines of that. They gave me a script and I did that, and they played it at the Bucks apparently, and everyone lost their shit. So
that's very good.
Yeah, they hit. I don't know how they got my number, but yeah.
So
obliged.
So it wasn't over social media.
No, this was probably 3 or 4 years after this, I reckon. Yep. So would have been 10 years ago.
Oh, good to see he didn't break up the relationship as well. He's got married. He's obviously hopefully living a good life.
Yeah, hopefully he's going well. Hopefully he's going well.
Off the footy field, best place for him.
Yeah.
No offense, but
yeah. Can you remember anything about Eastlake? I don't even know what that is.
It's a place. So the NEAFL then consisted of Brisbane Lions reserves, Gold Coast reserves, Swans reserves,
Giants
reserves, Northern Territory. They were always pretty good.
Random.
They were in the NEAFL.
Southport.
They were always pretty strong. Aspley Hornets.
Oh, yeah.
They won the premiership.
Where Harris Andrews from, I reckon.
They won the premiership in 2014
Really?
Wow.
with a kick after the siren against us at
Really?
the 36-minute mark.
Oh, so you obviously played.
Yeah, I played. Yep.
Yeah. Because talk us through, because you got back in the senior team late in the year.
Yeah.
And this is 2014, so the Swans made the grand final. You got back in the senior team, and then you got dropped again on the eve of final.
So, yeah, I got back in for round 23, played against the Dogs, played pretty well, and then played, to that point in time, the best game of my career.
At the AFL level?
Yeah, you'd have to check. I think it was 29 and 13 tackles. But I remember walking to the car with Dad after the game, and we lost. But he said, "Oh, mate, bloody hell,
Geez, you've got a good memory.
you were good today." Yeah, see, I haven't forgotten about it. He said, "You were good today." I was like, "Oh, I'll probably get dropped." He's like, he laughed at it. He's like, "Mate, if you get dropped from that, that's just, you just can't." He's like, "I'm telling you, as your dad, and I know footy, you can't." And then, what do you know?
So-
I remember walking to the team meeting. So I assumed I was playing all week. I walked to the team meeting. Let's just say the first final was on a Saturday. We do our main train day on Thursday. I was walking into the meeting. Horse just grabbed me. Like, I hadn't heard anything all week. Grabbed me just before I was about to go in. He's like, "You're not playing." And that was it.
Fuck. And who came in? Can you remember?
Can't remember.
Yeah. So your memory's nearly perfect. So you came in for round 22. You
Yeah.
played the Dogs. You had 23. Then round 23, which is apparently a thing in 2014, you played Richmond, and you had 29 and 13 tackles. So it was a Richmond game we had.
So I
to play
think whether you look at media best players, but I think I was named the best players in some things for the Swans, and I got dropped.
It's just madness. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's weird. Really weird.
I mean, the team lost, I believe, which is not.
Yeah, that's
the end of
that's
the
maybe
world.
why. I don't know. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why
So
they got to make change if the team loses. That's
Yeah, but you don't take out someone that's had 29 touches and laid 13 tackles.
Do you reckon?
That's just,
I agree.
That's just, I don't.
Do you reckon it's a thing where like they're so used to giving you bad news and dropping you that it's easier to give it to you than it is to someone else? Is that a thing at footy clubs? I don't know. It could be.
maybe.
Like it's like, oh, well, he's had disappointment before, and he's used to playing.
He takes
Yeah.
it well, yeah.
Yeah, he takes it well.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't take it well. I know that.
Yeah,
I went that night and just had drinks with all the reserves boys because they were done for the year. They didn't make finals. So I was like, oh, well, at least I'll go have a good time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think I was the emergency, and then I came to training the next day, one of the emergencies, and then they were like, "Oh, someone's a bit sore." I was like, "Fuck, imagine if I had to play," but it didn't happen. Yeah. No one was ever going to miss a final. But
What about? But then they made the grand final that year.
yeah, I was emergency for all three finals,
Okay, so
3 or 4 finals. Yeah, I remember watching the boys run at the race to play the 2014 Granny. Killed me.
yeah, fuck.
Yeah, because I missed out in 12. Got dropped for 14. Played at 16, we lost. So there's a lot of heartbreak early.
What are you thinking when? Obviously, you're still a part of the club, but when they get smacked by Hawthorn, are you thinking like, not saying you would have changed the result clearly because you just won.
Yeah,
man,
nah.
But you sort of it's almost better than them winning, right? Because
It's a tough one because you want your mates to do well. You got mates in the team who you're like, shit, it'd be great to see. Like some of my best mates were playing that day. Harry Cunningham, Jake Lloyd, like would have been awesome to see them do well.
yeah,
But at the same time, yeah, there is a part of you that's like, I feel like I should be out there. So you don't want to miss that feeling again like you do in 12. So mixed emotions for sure.
and then I mean, you don't have to answer this if you don't want, but you obviously had a great time at the Hawks in terms of more so the individual than the team. There wasn't a heap of team success outside of a couple of finals, but where would you sort of like, you got your young one now, where would you sort of be positioning him in terms of supporting? Is it the Hawks or the Pies?
He's Pies. He'll be
Okay.
Pies. The Pies have given him a little jersey with the number 6 on it. I think I
Wally-
love all these clubs and my times at all of them, but I think the premiership just brings people together.
I can't.
You know what I mean?
I was going to say, can Wally pitch on the Hawks?
Yeah,
but-
it's hard with the premiership because we're in a similar boat. I've been dropped for a final, grand final.
Yeah, it hurts, doesn't
So-
it?
Yeah,
Fucking
it
sucks.
fucking hurts, right? So I got dropped. Opened the bowling. 1 for 22 off my 8.
So we don't forget
Did
the numbers,
job,
do
don't
we?
forget the numbers.
Fuck.
Did my job. 1 for 22 off 8. With the other bowl, we bowled
Off
6
8?
Off 8 overs.
That's economical as fuck.
Economical in a one-day comp.
That's
and
bullshit.
then they called
Who's
me
the
in
coach?
and
You've gone
it
under
was
3 and over
it was all politics. And then they went out and they won the grand final.
See, I've thought about this. That's a
brutal.
great story. I've never wanted to be the guy that I see with players that leave the system. It's a lot of poor me, why me? Like I've tried to avoid that, but when I was in the moment, I was like, surely this isn't just me thinking this. And like when I hear you guys talk about it, it does sound crazy. So it sort of reinforces what I thought. But in the moment, you're like, am I crazy here? Like this, I've never seen this situation in the history of AFL. It doesn't make sense. Why is this happening to me?
I've watched football my entire life since I've watched football. I've been watching football for close to 40 years, and I never remember the media being more confused at someone not being selected than you. And I genuinely meant that. I don't remember anybody causing as much media stir up in Sydney going, why the fuck aren't he? We used to have discussions. Why aren't they paying this guy? And I'm glad they didn't, because it meant you came to us and you won a Brownlow with us, because I don't know, we haven't had a lot of them. So it's always nice. And yeah.
Nice to see the Hawks get something.
Yeah, it's nice for us to get. We've got all these flags,
You had a lot of
Simon. You've
success.
got to get some Brownlows. Can't just have flags. You need some medals as well. But my point is that it just made no sense to anybody. And the other thing is the way you're talking about all of this, and the 29 and 13, I think that like Horse or whoever it would be would struggle making a logical case as to why it happened. I don't think they could explain it. None of it makes any sense. This 65, actually that does. If you've got a coach who was a tagger, he's obviously fucking jealous.
Well, I tagged a bit at the back end of my career. I actually like tagging. It's good.
Well,
I like those challenges.
You spoke about a challenge you had when you were at the NEAFL against Simon Black.
Yeah, I played on Simon Black.
And
Yeah, that was a great experience. Yeah, I played on him. Well, I knew I was playing twos. He was coming back from injury, I remember, and I remember going to Horse's office and seeing the team sheet. I said, I want to play on Simon Black. Like, I would love that experience. He's like, oh, mate, I love this idea. This is great. And Crouchy's in the gun today, but I've had a meeting with Crouchy, the pre-game meeting, and he said to me, he goes, he's like, I don't want you to have, this is one the boys always laugh about, I don't want you to have 20 touches and you have 10. I want you to have 10 and him to have 10. And in my head, I'm going, that doesn't make sense. But in theory, I understood. He's like, I think he was trying to say, I don't want it to be a shootout. I don't want you to both have 30.
Yeah.
But the way he worded it was, I don't want you to have 20 and him 10. I want you both to have 10. So I'm like, so okay. So if I get the chance to get 10, but he doesn't get it, I'm still not going to go do it.
Yeah.
I was like, bizarre. Anyway.
And you've ended up with what?
I can't remember the numbers. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was a great experience playing on an all-time legend.
DT, you might want to get the numbers up here because I have genuinely only focused on the NEAFL. But you had, was it 250 disposal games in the AFL?
Yeah, definitely had one for Hawthorn against Collingwood. Was that 52?
I think DT would know.
I reckon.
I think 3. I think it's 3.
Yeah.
You had 3?
3, I think so.
350 disposal games.
The Brownlow year, there was 40s in there as well, wasn't there? And every game was 30, 35. It was just insane.
DT would have to be the man.
Yeah, I'm searching this up
That's a
now.
while ago now. But in terms of the 29 must be my unlucky number because something's just come to me. I got dropped this year as well at Collingwood for having 29.
Really?
That was my last game. I got 29.
I remember that.
I think Sench Footy picked this up. I had 29 and coaches votes and got dropped. So throw coaches votes in there. That was weird.
Was that against Richmond?
What's that?
Was that game against Richmond?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I remember that because it was you and
unlucky number.
You and Ned Long, wasn't it? That they were kind of sort of picking.
Oh, that's what the media perception was. Yeah, and it's probably reality. Like again, probably came back to team balance. So maybe coaches are right. Maybe we're missing something. I don't know. But that's just because I guess there is a play. I just see the game differently. I just think the way I see it is I see it's so simple. The more good players you have versus the more good players they have, normally good players will figure it out, make the right decisions and win the game. Yep. I think it's as simple as that. Healthy. If your players are fit and they're good at footy, you can have all your systems and structures. I get they're important, but I think talent outweighs it.
Yeah.
100%.
And so this is like you just going back to your last year at Collingwood. I heard you say this on your pod. You had Lachie Neale on, and you were saying that because Pendle's got injured in the prelim, you were going to play the granny if the
I
Pies won.
would have played. I was ready to. No one knows this story. I played a game. We played a game, Collingwood VFL versus Geelong VFL. This was, so Collingwood's AFL had just beaten Adelaide in the qualifying final in a prelim.
Yep.
Both Collingwood and Geelong VFL teams had to keep match fitness because both teams were progressing to prelims, stay fit and ready. And I reckon no one saw this game, DT, but if I had to pick a game where it was as close to as best I've played, I played this practice game at GHMBA. And it felt like that's when I came off, I was like, that's the best I've played for like a long time. Like sort of like, yeah.
And how long was that from the granny or the prelim?
That was 2 weeks out.
Okay.
So then I caught up, well, funnily enough, ran to fly. We had a few days off after Geelong. The game was in Geelong, ran in Torquay, and he obviously saw the game. And I just remember him saying, Matt, you were incredible. And Bobby Hill played pretty well that day too. And yeah, he just said, just be ready, like you're next in. So, and Pendles, we're pretty similar defensive midfield type, so it would have been an easy yeah, when he went down, I'm like, shit, if we win, I'm playing in a grand final. And then I'm probably still playing footy today if that happens. But it's little sliding doors moments. That's footy life.
How have you been since? Because you obviously, you love your footy. It's been such a part of your life. How are you with your identity and all of that kind of post game? Because it would be so weird to just obviously you've got amazing things happening in your life with, I'm sure, business opportunities and family and everything. But how do you feel?
Nah, it's been hard, to be honest. It's been bloody tough because I've probably felt I had another year left.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're playing twos, and the team last year at Collingwood was going great, so typically they're not going to change a winning team. But when you're playing twos, the perception is you must be done. But I was actually playing pretty good footy. So I feel like if I got a chance to showcase at an AFL final, it would have taken care of itself. I just didn't get the chance. So I know the shape I was in, I definitely had another year of good footy left in me, but it didn't work out. And there's not many fairy tale endings. That's what I've learnt. There's a lot of people out there. There's only a handful of Pendlebury, Selwood, Hodges, and everyone else is not that.
When do you think you'll look back at you might do it now, but do you look back at your career because there's a lot of what ifs and a lot of frustration, but it's also your career is still way, way, way more above than the average in terms of games played, accolades. Not many people get a flag, not many people get a Brownlow. There must still be tremendous pride more so than anything else.
Yeah, I think the pride comes from pushing through the adversity more so than anything. Yeah. So the Swans era was tough, had to fight pretty hard there. The Hawks era was tough in that I hit my peak. I was playing my absolute best footy and I break my leg in half. That's just far out. Felt like I was on this awesome trajectory. Had to sort of go back to the drawing board, get my body mended fully again. And then Collingwood, if you look at disappointment, won a premiership, and then basically I played 10 games in 2 years. So there's heartbreak along the way. There's also great times. So I think in the moment, I'm still probably processing it. I would say I'm probably living more in the space of I haven't been able to look back at it with a lot of pride yet because you're still in the herd of wanting to
so fresh.
Feel like I could still be doing it and I can't.
We normally have actual structured segments, and I have kind of left a lot of them off because the chat's been really good. But just two from me. So we have a thing in Honest Archives, and this is only the second episode, so it's not exactly a tradition. But it's if it happened today, what would happen? Can you just picture now if a player, and this might bring up an old wound for you, but if a player in the VFL or the Sandful or the Waffle got 64, what do you think would happen? They'd have to come back in, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but maybe not, because that as a sole one-off game, people have probably one-off games in leagues, and I think if you do it consistently, that's when the questions get asked. So I think, if I think back to my personal situation, it was probably consistently year after year.
Yeah.
If it's a one-off game, I can understand there not being a change because you can't be a flash in the pan. You've got to be doing it repetitively. So, but yeah, I get what you're saying. There are some unique games out there that need to be rewarded, probably.
Absolutely. I think I remember it. Was it? Oh, what's his name? He used to play for Port and St Kilda, left footer.
Riley Bonner?
Yeah, he had 55 in the VFL, I think.
Did he really?
Like that. Yeah.
Fuck.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Just one other segment we have is this going in, Wally? This is your decision. Is this going into the Honest Archives Hall of Fame, this performance?
Yeah, well,
Don't sugarcoat it because I'm here in front of you.
No, okay.
And we've only had 2 episodes. So
Well, to be fair, the first episode, Dan Gorringe's first ever Gold Coast win, went into the Hall of Fame and he had 2 touches and got subbed out. So
Hawthorn tick, Brownlow tick. Premiership player, doesn't matter if it was.
Talking about the NEAFL.
Yeah, but he's done those things. 64 in the NEAFL. No one's going to get that again. Of course, it goes in the Hall of Fame. Yes. Been a great chat.
It's definitely in the Hall of Fame. It's been a great chat. Anything else from that time that you can remember? Anything else you can dig up for us?
Let me have a think. Nah. Nah, I did have a great time up in Sydney, don't get me wrong. I feel like, there were some tough times, but I loved the club. Was awesome. A lot of great mates. The 16 premiership would have been the thing that would have made it all better, would have made it.
Would you have left?
Yeah, would have left. Yeah.
Still would have left.
But I just feel like it would have been a nice thing. I felt like that team on paper, if you look at Franklin, the midfield, there's just good players everywhere. The Dogs deserve to win the game, but we'll go on in favourites. We had a premiership there to take. We just didn't take it.
Well, while we got you on, just a couple of nuffy questions. Who's the best player you played with? Is it Buddy? You played with. If you look back at who you
Pendlebury, you played with Buddy, you played with all those.
Yeah, do you want me to go through a few at each club?
Yeah. Did you play with Hodge?
Yep.
Yeah, you played with Hodge, didn't you?
I played with Rioli for a bit. Played a handful with him.
Jesus.
So yeah, Sydney played with Buddy, Josh Kennedy. They're probably the picks of the bunch. Goodsey played with Goodsey. Hawthorn played with
Sam Mitchell.
Played with Hodgie, Cyril. Collingwood played with Dacos, Pendlebury. You could make a solid 10, couldn't you?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's
played with some of the goats. Been pretty cool. had the experience of that.
Can you name the best, or not? Is it you too scared to
Bud?
do it?
I'm going to say Nick Dacos.
Wow, you
Yeah.
love him, don't you?
Wow, I just think he's, when it's all said and done,
DT's
Look at
crying.
DT.
when it's all
Is he
said and done,
crying?
I think he's going to be the best that's ever played.
DT's either crying or he's got the biggest erection you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right?
Or both.
I got asked this question the other day. I think it's great. It was actually from the 100K lads. They said, "Yeah, I'll ask you both it right now.
Okay.
Red pill in
Yeah.
this hand, you get Gary Ablett Jr.'s career. You get that to keep. You get 2 Brownlows, you get 6 Lee Matthews, you get 8 All Australians, you get that, or you get Nick Dacos and what that could potentially be.
I think Gary Ablett Jr. is the best footballer I've seen.
Same.
So the only thing with that is the opportunity to go and do it all again and make your way is just too tempting because you're retired for. I haven't played obviously, but you're retired for a long time. So if it was you get all this in the bank, or you can go and experience it all. It's if you don't hit the heights.
I get but take the experience out
So
of it. It's
you're
like
just
when it's
saying,
said
do
and
you
done.
think he'll go bigger?
When their careers are done, where will he go bigger?
How? 5 Lee Matthews medals. Gary Ablett won.
It's insane. I rate that more than a Brownlow.
Of course.
Agreed. Well, I think on the Brownlow, I think Nick should clearly have one. So if Nick
should
had
have
one,
2.
yeah, but definitely one, you could say, well, he might get Gaz. Now we don't know. He should, but he probably won't.
You don't know, do they? Because there's star players that
Yeah.
don't get one.
The Bonds has never got one. Yeah, that's a really tough question. Speaking of, I would take, this is not kind of what you said, but I would take Nick's because I think playing at Collingwood and doing it there is like a different level. Like, obviously he had Geelong and the parent connection, the dad connection. But like those years in the Gold Coast, like no one gave a fuck. Like he played good footy, but who gives a shit, right? Like what he did at Geelong, 2 flags.
Doesn't it speak volumes of that Geelong team in 11
Yeah.
that they lose their best player end of 10 and Gary Ablett and they still win it?
Yeah,
That
that's-
shows how good their team. And same with Bud, he leaves it in
Hawthorn.
13, Hawthorn still win it.
If-
So what does that say? Like
There's
how
no way
good
that-
those teams were.
There's no way the Pies, maybe because the Pies teams wasn't as stacked in terms of talent. Like if Nick leaves that team, they're not. Like if Nick was to go to
Yeah.
Tassie,
I've got a theory as well, whether I feel like players' perceptions are so dependent on if the team wins or loses. Like, so let's just say Jack Steele as an example right now, great player.
Yep.
But he's getting the rewards because the team's winning and they're saying recruited. Let's just say Melbourne, they flip their winning record on its head.
Yep.
Let's just say they're 2-5, but he's playing how he is.
yeah,
know what I mean?
Not being talked about at all.
Yeah, it'd be like, it's all dependent on if you're playing in a winning team, you get glorified.
Yep.
That's all it comes down to.
Yeah,
That's a great shout.
that is a really good shout. Well, look, Titch, mate, we appreciate having you on. Apologies with the second lens not sort of being here, but that's okay.
Yeah.
No,
We
it
made
was-
it a lot getting snug with you,
it's
lads.
good.
Yeah, no, we honestly really appreciate you doing great stuff with ball magnets as well. Wally's a big Guinea man, so he's been tuning into that every
Yeah,
week.
you like it?
So yeah, but look, mate, I'm sure we'll have you on again.
Yeah, we'll run the archives back till another.
We'll
Maybe
do-
the Hawthorn days next time.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
There's another couple of NEAFL ones in there.
Oh, no.
Stuff.
Done.
Yeah.
But no, Titch, you've been great, mate. Thanks for
Thanks,
coming
boys.
on. And like the way we always end it, go Saints.
Go Hawks.
Go Pies.